What's up, guys, and welcome back to the third and final game of the NoShang Invitational between Kaipi and Finem. This is lower bracket semifinals, so winner of this goes on to the lower bracket finals. Winner of this moves on. Loser gets kicked out. We should probably speak English from here on out. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Mrp, and I will be joined with him. Jesus Christ, dude, I'm like fucking out of it. I don't know. That disconnect made me so tilted, and I'm just like fucking out of it.
Confirmed. Well, we didn't have a 20-minute break between games. So
I know.
You didn't
I need
get
my
enough
20
time to
minutes.
recharge.
Smoke some cigarettes.
Yeah, you know, Russian caster things. But either way, Finem, this is a hero that's been curiously, disregarded thus far in the series. They're gonna pick up the Doom alongside the Darkseer. So likely it's going to be that Spartan roaming Doom and going to be the answer to Kaipi's Night Stalker pick coming out early. So they forego the Earth Spirit for Finem, which is, atypical of them, to say the least. And they will pick up the Doom here. Night Stalker Dazzle opening for Kaipi is going to be the one that's similar in the last game in direction. They're going to have sustain as well as tankiness in their lanes early on. So going to once again make their lanes difficult for Finem to be able to apply pressure to.
This is almost Finem's opening being picked up here by Kaipi, at least, Night Stalker, and starting things off on an aggressive note. But much like how Kaipi really struggled to kill off any of Finem's heroes because they were so tanky, the other way around, Finem struggled to kill off Kaipi heroes because they were so tanky. We're going to have a similar situation here. Like, Doom is already difficult to bring down. Darkseer, Death Prophet just adding to the list of problem heroes for Kaipi to try to deal with. And I mean, you could be Night Stalker in this game, but who are you actually going to gank? Is there anyone you can actually easily gank right now? I don't really think there is. So this Night Stalker already off to a weird start, but wow, okay. Waste no time, pick a Drow Ranger. Now, this is something you could, I want to say 10 times out of 10, grab in the fourth box instead of the third, which, may or may not make a difference here. But Kaipi are going to have a Drow Ranger with the defensive power of Dazzle, so that's not nothing. But yeah, I guess this is okay because Finem are already showing the majority of their cores, so there's not really that much time to kind of switch styles here for Finem. They're already kind of locked in.
Yeah, it's not as if they're going to be able to, steal the Wind Ranger away with the Death Prophet already coming out. And they're going to go for the Zai Prophet here, which is definitely a hero he's very comfortable with. Kaipi certainly looking to end this one early. I think one, shortcoming that they've noticed here in Finem's lineup is they don't have great wave clear. I mean, they have the Ion Shell and the Crypt Swarm, which over time will be able to deal with waves. But if they queue up early on, get a decent start out of these lanes, put themselves underneath the tower, with the Dazzle sustain behind them, Finem are going to be hard pressed to be able to stymie this push. So I don't mind the pickup from Kaipi. It is a susceptible one. They have a couple of heroes in the Doom with the Surge, the Prophet with the Siphon, and that long hold from the Oracle that can get in the face of the Drow Ranger. But having this Dazzle behind it, I really don't mind the pick from Kaipi, and wouldn't be all that surprised to see the Wind Ranger come out in this mid lane. Queen of Pain also available for them there, but a lot of options really for Kaipi. And yeah, they will go for the Sing Sing Wind Ranger. It's really not all that surprising. It's one of the heroes that isn't too worried about the Siphon in the mid lane because she can just run away from it. So contributes to the push, benefits from the precision aura, and deals decently with the Prophet. So I like this draft overall from Kaipi in a vacuum. I think the Dazzle pick is really the pick that makes it attractive to me.
Yeah, just that get out of jail free card for most of the time for the Drow Ranger, but it's also huge on the Wind Ranger. Wind Ranger also is just a very difficult hero to gank, and 4-position roaming Doom. I mean, the hero you want to be ganking into is someone like a Storm Spirit, but into a Wind Ranger, you're going to need a Troll Net or a Mud Golem, Boulder Toss, whatever it's called, if you're actually going to get that kill. And even then, it's far from guaranteed. So this is a really sticky hero in the lane here for Kaipi, and not only that, but we've seen Sing really struggle up against his mid lane opposition in Thug throughout these past couple of games. With Wind Ranger versus Death Prophet, that already should be a lane where like at worst you break even, but with Drow Ranger or on top of that, you're probably going to have some sort of advantage in that lane CS wise. It may not be as huge considering how well Thug has been playing in this series, but still saying you would expect to have a much better time in this game. Finem's last pick going to be that Clinkz running back that game 1 strat. And it seems like Clinkz in this game pretty well positioned, not really great at getting to the face of Drow Ranger, locking out her marksmanship agility bonus, but he is going to be more than comfortable laning up against Nature's Prophet. We'll need minimal help there.
Yeah, definitely. So Madara showed some certain potential first game and bottom lane just with the Oracle hold and first level in strafe with the max searing arrows. There is definite kill potential onto Zai in this lane. So we'll see what Bambo ends up doing with his time early on. I wouldn't be too surprised to just see him join Zai and ensure that Zai does decently well. The Drow Ranger with a Dazzle behind her, I feel like she should be okay for the most part. Doom Darkseer is a scary combination in some respects, but with the defensive support of the Dazzle behind the Drow Ranger, I think they'll be just fine, especially with a value point in Gust at any point. So I think Kaipi have certain potential to just take this game over at 12 minutes. If they don't, however, and they spend a little bit too much time grouping up, then Finem can certainly feast on that extra bit of farm they get across the map. And they are a team that gets very strong with their ultimates up, with the Exorcism and the Doom.
Yeah, I mean, they both have some really long cooldowns, and usually that's not really what you want up against Drow Ranger drafts. You want to have consistent fighting power as opposed to super bursty fighting power, but just having a Doom ultimate, like even just discounting Exorcism completely, that in and of itself, just throw that on the Wind Ranger, throw that on the Drow Ranger, and you're probably not going to lose that fight as Finem, pretty much regardless of what else happens. So in that in and of itself, I'm liking here for Finem, and of course, they get the extra bonus power of Darkseer combos, Exorcism from the Death Prophet, all that just as bonus is good enough. But Kaipi, they have the Drow Ranger draft. They're the ones that have to be assertive, and we'll see how assertive they actually can be. It is going to come down, most part, to these lanes. Spartan Doom is probably the most important hero to look at for the Finem squad. If he's able to actually get a kill or two in this early game stage, then all of Kaipi's time is going to be delayed by just that much. And if they're not able to hit their times, if they're not able to actually group up and push those towers, you're not going to win with the Drow Ranger draft.
Yeah, definitely so. But I do feel like it's going to be difficult in order, or difficult for that to happen. If it does, it'll likely be in the first couple of levels with the Darkseer and the Doom. But Spartan's gone for this early point in the Devourer, just to try and ensure himself a bit of farm early on and get that level 2. So it's going to give enough time for Kaipi to get, perhaps a Shadow Wave or a Grave, one or the other, available for Come With Me. And in that respect, I feel like it's going to be a bit difficult for them to find kills thereafter. We'll see what they can do in this bottom lane, though. And, as I touched upon earlier, Bambo is going to be joining up Zai in this bottom lane. And I really like this decision. I feel like Zai, he's going to be a very key element of this push strat with the Drow Ranger, and they need to ensure that he gets decent farm here early on.
And just getting that nice safe experience for the Nature's Prophet means that down the line, when the Doom is on the rotation, we'll be up against one more hero at any given time, and you actually poke at Madara quite a bit here. Not a huge amount, just by virtue of Night Stalker being melee up against the Clinkz, who's ranged and obnoxiously ranged, so he'll actually take a lot of damage in trying to do so. But he won't die just yet, and that's kind of okay for a support Night Stalker to be trading hits, trading mana, trading health regen with the enemy Clinkz in the safe lane, because that means that Nature's Prophet is going to have a much easier time in between Bambo's ganks in and out of this lane. So this is pretty much the best that Kaipi can hope for in this bottom lane. They're pressuring Madara at least as much as they can with the draft they selected, and it is always hard to pressure up a Clinkz. And at the same time, they're not really hurting in those other lanes, especially up towards top, where the Darkseer is taking an absolute beating from this Dazzle. And of course, the Drow is happily last hitting, and mid lane this time is drawing even, at least for now.
Yeah, so Sing Sing, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Thug on the Death Prophet to bully him in this game, as it was in game 1 with the Zeus. And Spartan's going to have to join up bot lane to, try and tip the scales in the favor of Finem. Zai with a lovely Treant deny there early on, and they have been able to stymie the CS gain of a Madara here. So all things going according to plan, at least for Kaipi in the early game. Bambo going to held up by the Fortune's End here, but Still no
whoa.
kill potential. And wow, Sing Sing, he's going to turn the tables in this mid lane matchup against Thug. He's lost 2 games fairly considerably thus far, and he will find himself a solo kill. Actually, the rotation in from the Dazzle coming through as well to net that one.
Well, sorry guys, I did not expect that to happen. I expected the Clinks to go down in bottom lane, if anything. He was taking a lot of damage from the Nature's Prophet, but Sing Sing working some magic, so he can grab a kill. Loses Courier, however, and that kind of sucks. Poor Panda. They're not supposed to kill those, and Sing is actually taking a lot of damage in the meantime. Doom on one side, Thug on the other. Crypt Swarm, I don't think is quite going to do it. We'll drop him down to 20, but one more hit is all they need. Power Shot 3 is trying to take out Spartan. He will fail to do so, but now Zai's going to arrive. We'll just start racing. Thug, Bambo also here will help jam that kill home, and Spartan's on the run to the north. He's got boots, and the Night Stalker does not, so the Doom should be fine, although cut off by Come With Me. The ganking Dazzle they never expected. Spartan is going to eat a creep and then try to book it out of there. He got the armor from the creep, so that might help him against his poison touch, but not nearly enough. Nature's Prophet with the Treants of all things, gonna grab the double kill while he's happily on this bottom lane. So yeah, they do kill off Sing Sing, and that's a pretty big kill to take, but losing one too many heroes. Now look at the CS for the Kaipi side. All through their ranged cores, they're on the top. Admittedly not by much, but this is what you need if you're gonna have a successful Drow Ranger game.
Yeah, and this is the perfect hero to get these kills early on. An early set of phase boots for Zai can do so much work with the precision aura on top of it. So Madara, although he finds a little bit of free space as they rotate the Night Stalker and the NP to the mid lane, hereafter, once the phase boots are up, is going to be in a lot of trouble. Maybe next time you already see Bambo jumping forward, and Madara, he is going to have to skeleton walk out of this one. So this lane going to get the more dangerous. Skylark going to be scouted out by a creep. Top lane, Spartan is with him, and Bone 7 still could be in trouble here, although Come With Me rotates in, gets the Shadow Walk off, and not even going to have to pay with his life here. The Frost Arrows from Bone 7 going to keep Skylark and Spartan at bay. So Kaipi's early game definitely going well for them thus far here, 4 minutes in, and the first nighttime will come about. So Bambo going to get a little bit more effective. He's got a set of dust on him as well, and Madara, he's out of mana here for the Skeleton Walk. They can just dive him. Couple more right clicks, Clinks is going to fall. Killing spree going the way of Zai in this early game, and Kaipi looking a lot more comfortable in this second and third game against Finem than in that first one up against the Night Stalker. So grabbing up the NS for themselves here has proved to work out very nicely.
This is even Night Stalker getting a kill in a lane that had 2 observer wards watching the incoming routes in. So that really shouldn't be happening. Maybe Madara just figured, oh, that gank isn't going to be happening. Maybe he just wasn't watching. But regardless of what happened there, the Night Stalker's still able to walk in, get a kill. And now he's level 3, exactly where he wants to be. And now, Zai is going to teleport in towards Skylark, up towards top lane. One more shot is all he needs. Treants. Oh, Sprout to get the vision. There it is. Sneaks it in. Over towards mid lane. They're going deep first. Sing is going to get the win run out to dodge the Infernal Blade. Still getting drained out though and will fall. Zai's going to arrive now over in mid. This guy is everywhere, but maybe he shouldn't be this place in this time because the Siphon is there. He's going to have to block the ramp with the Sprout. He grabs Thug and walls off Spartan. Perfect Sprout to get himself to safety. Yes, they do lose Sing, but they gain a Darkseer in exchange. And as you said, Zai's such an important hero to have in these Drow Ranger drafts to have success, and this is as successful as you can expect from Nature's Prophet in any game. 4 kills 5 minutes in is an insane amount, and he's got phase boots. He's got the damage to back it all up. Plus 12 already coming out from Bone 7.
Yeah, the one thing for the early game that's suboptimal, I would say, for Kaipi is that, Come With Me has to be a bit of the sacrificial lamb. He has to be at the right place at the right time, keeping his cores up, and for that reason, in general, won't be able to find his levels, but he's sitting on level 4 here. He's ahead of both Skylark and the Oracle. So I don't think there's anything going poorly here in the early game for Kaipi's side. Sing Sing's death in the mid lane is an expendable one. At least, in general, you would never really say that about your mid laner, but all things considered, I think Kaipi is very happy with this, and, leaving Sing Sing all by his lonesome on an island, it's just fine for them to lose him once here. Bone 7, he's going to pick up the marksmanship in one creep. Focus Fire is going to be up fairly soon for, Sing. We may not see him skill it just yet, but it being a push strategy, there is potential for that, and, all things coming to place here for Kaipi. So top lane, they're going to jump in. Spartan, he's in trouble and may just end up dying here. Couple right clicks, he'll throw out the boulder smash, but that'll just ensure his death regardless. And Zai once again going to pick up the kill here. Mega kill streak for the Prophet. Bambo bottom lane, he's probably just too tanky for them to bring down, even though he is by his lonesome, and it is nighttime. So Hunter in the night movement speed, he'll just be able to soak some experience as Zai leaves the lane. Sing Sing does end up opting for the focus fire at level 6, and, you know, look for this 8 or 9 minute mark at the very least. This off lane tower from the Radiant going to be pressured by the Drow lineup.
Yeah, that 12-minute timing that you were talking about earlier seems to be coming into fruition. Still, we're only halfway there, but it's Bone 7 is in a little bit of trouble. He will get the double gust back, but still the Ion Shells are closing in. Boulder Toss is there. Double Ion Shell now fully kicking into gear with the Infernal Blade slow. It should be just enough. TP coming for the Dazzle, but it's not in time. They will TP with the Nature's Prophet as well. Sprout not going to be thrown out just yet. They're looking for Skylark or Spartan. They're not really sure just yet. Zai just right-clicking away. They see Skylark leaving. They'll settle for the Doom. He's going to chop his way through with the Tango. They do have the Wrath of Nature. I don't think that'll do it, though, and they should call it quits. They, in the meantime, also lose the Night Stalker. Looks like he got one too many arrows stuck into him, with, of course, the hold from that Oracle. So it is 2 losses here from Kaipi, and during nighttime, those are pretty expensive ones as well, but they're not done yet. Bambo going to return to this bottom lane, looking for Madara. He'll void him. There is a Fortune's End. There's Purifying Flames. It will get him out of that slow. And Bambo still pushing forward because he knows that Zai's in the area. But now, well, they actually protect him for the magical damage. Means Void does nothing. Madara's still able to turn around and fire into the Night Stalker. One more shot's all he needs, but he can't quite get it. Zai's doing way too much damage to the stage. One more shot. It's going to be dodged by a Skeleton Walk. But he's going to get maybe next time instead. So I guess Zai can't be too unhappy about that. Over towards mid lane. Sing Sing ganked up again. Spartan and Thug tag teaming the Wind Ranger. It'll be a 1-for-1 trade after all is said and done. And, well, I honestly expected more deaths there, so I'm a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, the one time that we see the Drow Ranger unattended in the by her Dazzle, she is going to end up dropping. And those were the 2 picks that, you know, Ad Finem desperately needed to push back the timing window of Kaipi. And, you know, Sing Sing, a couple of deaths, as we mentioned before, a bit expendable, but starting to get a little concerning in the mid lane. And, you know, it looks like they are going to have to wait for that second nighttime period, you know, the timing window we originally talked about to get underneath these towers. But in the meantime, Bone 7 does get a bit of chip damage done on the tier 1, so that'll be a little bit more of a low-hanging fruit hereafter. And Come With Me going to get a bit of vision down for his Sing Sing Wind Ranger in the mid lane, as he has been aggressed upon pretty frequently thus far. So Kaipi gonna slow things down for the next little bit. They're still looking at a pretty darn good timing for I feels like them to be able to push towers, but for this second daytime, they are gonna have to be a bit more tame.
I mean, the Spartan Doom has been doing a pretty nice amount of work as far as applying pressure. Bambo drops his stick in front of Spartan, just taunting him to come, and it looks like it worked. They land a slow on him. They're not going to teleport in the Nature's Prophet, though. Kind of a bold move there, but hey, whatever works, man. If you start a fight like that, I suppose that you can be a play. But yeah, for Kaipi, they do suffer a couple of casualties here and there. They are, you know, having to deal with a very, very disruptive Doom at this stage, and Sing's laning experience is now going to look a lot rougher. Even though he does have that win run to get himself out, we have phase boost in the Death Prophet, so she can keep up pretty reliably, and Sing still is not getting that much help from his allies. But Kaipi have enough of a start, I think, to actually start grouping up after this, really regardless of the items they want to take, regardless of the kills that they suffer, or they'll just kill off Spartan. He will just straight TP out of there, however. They already used the only stun. They have to cancel that in the Void from the Night Stalker, so he's able to get away. But if Kaipi just ball up as 5 and just force down a tower, I don't think Ad Finem have much to do about that.
Yeah, they just wait for the nighttime here for Bambo to be able to frontline for them. They don't really have any other hero, and that's why the Night Stalker is certainly a key cog in this mechanism that is the Drow Ranger lineup. So Sing Sing, you know, he doesn't have much in the way of item progression, but he's got his levels, which are sufficient enough to contribute here, and the marksmanship on top of that, the precision aura should be able to. But mid lane, he could be in trouble once again. Spartan going to rotate through. He's actually just short of the level 6, though, and would really love to be able to have that here. But it looks like they are going to join up top lane with Skylark. He's got the wall ready, no vacuum on top of it, but Come With Me, he's in a bit of a perilous position, and yeah, it should be a very easy kill. Going to be silenced up. Ion Shell will be there. Siphon, he'll get the Grave off and try to TP out. The second Infernal Blade will cancel it for now, and Bone 7, he's up in the trees, keeping himself safe. He'll turn to mid lane. Madara, he's going to get his TP canceled bottom in the Void by Bambo, and now Sing Sing and Bone 7, the 2 Rangers, are going to get to work here in the mid. The TP is going to come through from Thug, and that'll keep them at bay for now. Gust will keep Thug back, and they do get quite a bit of damage done on this tier 1 in the mid lane. So overall, trade of clinks for a dazzle, you get 80% of the damage done on the tier 1 in the mid lane. Sure, you're not balling up and taking towers as you intend to, but Kaipi overall going to be pretty damn happy with that.
Yeah, that'll come pretty much guaranteed down the line, and keeping the clinks down, keeping your dazzle safe mostly versus that clinks is just a pretty big game. Of course, the trade in of itself is worth it, but the clinks is one of the more disruptive heroes that can stop this push just by picking off a hero, and Sing's gonna land a shackle onto Skylark up towards top. Haste Rune helping him get into that position, and we'll grab a fairly easy solo kill on the top lane, so that's a pretty nice one for Sing. But yeah, Kaipi, they really just have to limit the amount of damage that Clinks is able to do, and they've already killed him off twice, which is a decent amount, but they've also been pressuring his lane pretty consistently. As far as CS is concerned, not really where he wants to be at this stage. His net worth is right in the middle of the pack, whereas the rest of the cores, namely the cores on Kaipi, are all on top. It is that 12-minute mark. We got the second real nighttime phase, and we'll see where the objective is going to be forced, if anywhere at all. It's Zai and Bone 7 on this bottom lane. We'll be running into a couple of heroes here. Way too many for a Drow Ranger. She's doomed and dead. Deny is going to be attempted, but unfortunately not enough damage on that one. So they will lose the Drow Ranger immediately, and that's going to stall the push at least for another 30 seconds, although Sing already was focusing the top lane tower. We'll grab that one. Spartan is actually going to try to 1v3 now. He's got a little bit of help coming with Skylark. Maybe next time they'll take down the Dazzle, and Sing's just not doing enough damage at this stage because they lost the Drow Ranger. Zai's going to try to TP out of here. He should make it out, and he will. But taking that fight with no Drow damage means that suddenly all your heroes are kind of disappointingly weak. And now Sing is going to have to teleport out. They will sack the top tier 1 tower most likely, but Sing actually teleported mid, so I think they can make a trade here.
Yeah, they can definitely at least force reactions towards the mid lane, but as Thug did walk up, but he actually doesn't have a TP on the Prophet. So it looks like they're just going to trade this, and this isn't all that bad for Finem, in all honesty. The trade overall is good across the map. They get the Drow Ranger, they force them out of their top lane, and we'll be able to assume the jungle and try and pick off the Nature's Prophet thereafter. But another thing that a Drow lineup does very proficiently is take the Roshan, and with the Treants there to tank as well, Zai and Bone 7 going to jump inside the pit, and they're going to be able to take this pretty quickly on top of all the tier 1s. So, talked about that 12-minute mark, and 13 and a half in, we're going to have all the tier 1s and an Aegis going the way of Kaipi's lineup. So they're still set to continue to press forward here and hit all the important milestones in this lineup. They would desperately love to pick up the level 2 on Bone 7's marksmanship here, and the Tome already bought out, so unfortunately he is a little bit of a ways away from that, but they'll get the second life onto Zai as he picks up this Orchid, so he can get a lot more aggressive starting engagements off, having that silence to cover him.
Finem have been doing very little in the meantime. They've been dominating the enemy jungle, but Kaipi are not the type of team comp to actually go into their jungle and significantly farm it. They'll drop in occasionally, but for the most part, that loss of the jungle space is not really a terribly huge deal, because they're going to answer that with just a straight-up push right down the bottom lane. Spartan is silenced immediately. As tanky as he is, it's not quite tanky enough, it seems. The Orchid should pop him, and it will. But from the back line, it's Madari. He's found an angle onto Ziggy. They will take down the Drow Ranger first thing, and now everyone from Kaipi, I feel like they got to go. They don't have enough damage for this one. Night Stalker's taking a hell of a lot from Thug, who's hit with the False Promise. Will get shackled to a tree, but still not dead just yet. Bambo's going to try to teleport out with the Grave. He will actually die elsewhere. Now they're on to come with me. They'll take him down. They see Zai teleport out. They can't stop him. But Kaipi lose 3 heroes. The Aegis on Zai, not really super useful there, as it's Drow Ranger to lose her life first. And that's like the worst case scenario there for Kaipi. If they lose the Drow Ranger last, fine, whatever. Everyone did as much damage as they can, but marksmanship being taken off the board means that everyone is doing, I think, like 40 less damage a pop.
It's just, it feels like just simple bad positioning from Bone 7 there. I mean, he's in the one spot where they can walk through the trees and be immediately right in front of him, as opposed to being back with his lineup. And yeah, you may not be as much in vision there, but he gets blown up very quickly. He doesn't have the Aegis. It's on to Zai. And another thing was that they were a bit anxious to use the Orchid, perhaps, and they go on the tankiest target on Finem's side. And they're able to surge out the Doom and keep him alive long enough to re-engage there. So Kaipi, though, don't fret all that much. The Exorcism is now down, and we'll likely see them group up again, still having the Aegis available, and that cooldown being off the board. But Spartan, being the one that did drop early, still does have that Doom. So there are ways for Finem to continue fighting.
Soon, I imagine we're going to have a Dragonlance on Bone 7 with that level 11 around the same timing, so that's a pretty large increase in power for him. They're looking at the Doom over in mid, or at least Bambo is. Here comes the Daystalker. Gotta run, Doom. He's scary. Doom's just going to pop the Scorched Earth, turn around for a boulder, just to send a message more so than anything else. And we will have that group up again for the Kaipi squad. Zai is going to not be joining the fray. He's going to have to teleport away from Madara. Not enough damage on the Clinks to solo kill the Nature's Prophet, at least not yet. But they're assembling the troops once again down towards the bottom lane. And this is the downside of Finem's squad. Maybe not really going to show its face here just yet, but Exorcism and Doom both have prohibitively long cooldowns. So we will see Kaipi maybe in this game take advantage of that, absorb a kind of rough fight, but then group up and take a little bit of a win afterwards. But this tier 2 bottom lane tower, I think it's pretty much just forfeit at this stage. Thug will throw out a couple Crypt Swarms, get a little bit of farm here. The backup is coming from Finem. They want to fight over this. They know that Bone 7 is still incredibly weak at this stage, only being level 10. So they will actually hold their tier 2 tower. This bodes very, very poorly for Kaipi if they can't force down tier 2s at this stage.
Yeah, this is a bit rough for them, especially with the Aegis in hand, but understanding the potency of this team fight lineup from the other side, and I can at least look for, you know, some sort of escape item or some sort of, you know, Aether Lens maybe on the Dazzle behind this Drow Ranger. They definitely just don't have enough right now to keep her alive and fighting, and Bone 7 would love to have that second level in marksmanship, which as he backs off, he will be able to pick up here. So, you know, Dragonlance, as you mentioned, going to be a pretty key item to help out with the siege, but full 5-man smoke coming out from Finem. Over positioned nicely on the high ground. It looks like Kaipi are relatively privy to this, as all the lanes are forced fairly deep, and no one is dealing with them except for Madara in this top lane. So they will see the reveal of the Clinks, just kind of go back to farming, continue to stay safe, as you know, a lot of these cores are a bit susceptible to the opening from Finem's side.
Shadowblade now up on the Nature's Prophet with that Dragonlance and level 11. Kaipi just had a huge surge in power level with these couple of items picked up. They will almost have the Ags completed on this Wind Ranger. Just needs a little bit of extra cash. So waiting for that one should mean waiting for the next nighttime as well. And then if they're unable to get success in pushing down these towers, then Kaipi really got to worry. The bad thing about the Drow Ranger draft is that there's really no backup plan, or there generally isn't. You could still like do a lot of damage, but if you're not taking these towers by, you know, the 30-minute stage, if you're not in a hugely advantageous position, you're probably going to end up losing it. But for right now, they're going to group up without their full squad. Dara's pushing forward. He does see the Observer Ward placed by Come With Me, so he can take that one out. And Kaipi just messing with Finem, it seems, on this bottom lane. Constantly forcing out rotations, but again, it's really to not much avail. Like, they're getting just marginal amounts of farm in the meantime, but their items are up. They just need another couple of minutes here for nighttime. Then they're going to be good to go.
They may even need another Aegis at this point. Roshan is going to be minimum spawn in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and you know, it feels like if they get a Doom wasted on an Aegis target, then that should bode really well for Kaipi thereafter. But you know, having that bottom lane tower denied by Thug is going to be pretty detrimental to Kaipi's side. They really rely on that influx of gold because by nature their lineup is grouped up so much, pushing under these towers. Sing Sing mid lane, gonna look to kind of clear up the wave, and it's gonna be Finem the ones to queue up the fight here as Bambo, he's wrapping around, he finds the silence onto the Oracle. They're gonna surge him away though. Crimson Guard is gonna be there as well, but Madara, he gets bursted in the front lines, catching a power shot and a couple of right clicks from Bone 7. Now Spartan in trouble as well. Focus Fire will bring him down. Grave will keep Bambo safe. Thug, he's frontlining though and will be able to dodge the gust, but just doesn't have enough follow-up here. And now Shackle comes through it. It's going to hit onto Thug. Zai will end up dying to the Exorcism. A Yule Scepter will be there, but the sustain keeping them fight ready for now. And Thug going to drop 5-man wipe in the mid lane as Bambo able to wrap around undetected, find the silence on the Oracle, force out the engagement, and they get the Exorcism cooldown off the board. Once again, though, Spartan is going to be killed off without using the Doom, but this is going to be more than enough of an opening for this tier 2 to go down. And you know, Zai's a costly loss here for Kaipi, but with the rest of their lineup, they still push decent enough to get this tier 2. And Madara, he's going to TP in top lane. They're going to drop down a sentry, so it looks like they may have caught a glimpse of that at the tail end. But this is a little bit concerning, this force here. And it looks like, yeah, KP will end up backing out. Madara, he's going to pick up the Dazzle in the backlines. Bambo, he's going to be in trouble now as well. The mischance from the Crippling Fear will keep him safe for now. And he's able to garner most of the attention from Finem, which is, you know, perhaps a bit of a misstep from them, as he has so much move speed with 4 levels in the Hunter of the Knight. So the Drow Ranger will be able to make it out alongside Sing Sing to the north. And, you know, in the nick of time, barely, Kaipi is able to extract himself from danger in the bottom lane. So overall, definitely a really nice exchange for them.
I mean, the difference between that fight and all the previous ones is that Drow Ranger never has to deal with anyone. She's just firing from the outskirts, and that's exactly where Drow Ranger wants to be, no exceptions. So if Finem are unable to get on top of the Drow Ranger, that's the type of fight they're looking for in the future. And the fact that they lost Klink's first thing because he was somehow in the front, I mean, that is obviously not going to help out all that much. And they do take down a 10 kill spree from Zai, so it's a lot of gold going towards that Death Prophet. That's why we see here. Now packing that point booster on top of the Ghost Scepter Yule's about as defensive as you can get up against the Drow Ranger draft, but for Kaipi, they are able to push in towards that tier 2, take it down, and take down the top tier 2 as well. Denied actually, but you know, regardless, it's off the map, and that's what matters for Kaipi. They're going to slide into Roche, take that one down, grab another double life here, most likely for the Drow Ranger this time. There you go. And now with all the tier 2s down, it's time for Kaipi to go up high ground. I don't think there are any items that are very close and worth waiting for. Blink Dagger on Sing, you'll wait for that delivery, but that's not a terribly huge deal. Seems like everyone else, they're pretty much good to go right now.
Yeah. They are going to finish up an AC at some point onto Zai, but he's still quite a ways away from that. So for now, just goes for the value plate mail. But he could be in trouble top lane, Zai. He's going to be aggressed upon, Yule's up, and probably just dies here. He'll get the Orchid off and try and Shadow Blade away. Silence will be there. Sentry, though, back into it. Zai again, a bit of a costly death, and nothing really expended from this unit. Even though they're being wrapped on here from Kaipi, they still have this Exorcism available. Yule Scepter, though, it is on cooldown. That may be one tool that they need to keep Thug alive here. Power Shot, though, will whiff from Sing Sing, and now with no Shackle available, as they've already used it, they're going to have to back out here. Now the Yule Scepter will be used aggressively onto Sing Sing. He will get the wind run off, though. Won't be able to phase through. Gets a regen rune. Will bottle that up as well. Still in a lot of trouble, though, as they bring down, or bring very low, the Dazzle. For Come With Me. He will get the Grave off, but unable to TP out, it seems, and just trying to run away from Skylark here. They're chasing forward for Bambo. They will not find him. And Come With Me, you know, just on a wild goose chase, may just look to deny himself here, but either way, Zai with a bit of a costly death there by his lonesome in the top lane. Just not enough vision around him to be able to facilitate him pushing that deep, and he will end up paying for it.
I mean, it's the pretty classic, I'll push top lane while the rest of my team pushes bot lane play. But unfortunately, just the bluff was kind of called there. And Come With Me, so close to being able to make a mistake, and suddenly Death Prophet with the Yule Scepter. Oh, poor Dazzle. He almost got away from the Darkseer. That sucks, man. But either way, he's down as well. And Kaipi, they do still have the Aegis. So the fact that they did lose that fight, and they lost it pretty handily, is bad, but it's not really the end of the world. They can still make their aggressive plays. If they are able to push in, grab a set of Raxes, then suddenly they are looking 100%. And a double damage rune on Drow Ranger, that surely isn't going to hurt. So Bone 7's hitting like an absolute truck right now. Finem have to grind through a top tier 2 tower, which they will do pretty quickly, but I don't really know if they're going to be able to really race here. They definitely won't be able to. They have to fall back. Hopefully they all have TPs. And they do, so they're going to teleport back everyone right now, but you already have Drow Rangers starting to chunk in towards that tower. Look at the damage. That is just not fair. Sing Sing's now going to arrive and do very similar amounts of damage. They will doom up Zai, and huge vacuum back wall into 3 heroes. They'll lock Zai in one more time. He's doomed up still, and he will be the first one to fall. Nature's Prophet down probably means the fight is over, but there are still more casualties to be had. They'll lift up the Night Stalker, drop him into a Clinks, and get the kill with the Purifying Flames. In the meantime, we have Skylark chasing after Sing and Bone 7. Not able to catch up to them, but Finem, they do use only the Doom to get 2 kills.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have the Exorcism. They can still fight. They could even push in back towards Kaipi if they really wanted to.
Yeah, I felt like that was just poor shot calling from Kaipi. You know, and I'm just a scrub caster saying that, but we saw how quickly that tier 2 dropped top, and you're not with your Dazzle bot lane. You just can't keep up that first target who gets gone on. And we saw Zai drop very quickly. They finished off the Night Stalker. They're lucky to get Bone 7 out there. even though he did have the Aegis. And, you know, what did they get out of that, really? A tier 3. That's certainly not worth it, especially considering the Exorcism was held onto. But they will look to reinforce here the mid lane. But, you know, this Clinks, he burns these towers so damn quickly that looks like Finem will just take this uncontested and back out.
Looking for the tower deny will be unsuccessful. Kaipi do have all their troops back in play, but with really no huge openings at this stage. Smoke up from Finem, they're not done yet. They still have this Exorcism, they really want to use it. Smoke will be blown by Come With Me. We'll get a read onto everyone. Blind Vacuum is only going to catch the Dazzle, who will grave himself. Shackle's going to land onto Spartan, but there's no damage follow-up because Ziggy's elsewhere. Bone 7's clearing out the creep wave. They'll take down the Dazzle, and now Bone 7's actually separated. Oh no, this is really bad for the Drow Ranger. She does have the Aegis, but I don't think she's tanky enough to withstand 2 sets of hero deaths. And it will be, well, 1 almost. Yes, they'll take down the Aegis. She will actually get to safety in the tier 3, so she's not going to die twice, which would have been an absolute disaster. But for Kaipi, they're on the defensive, and they never really want to be taking fights on their half of the map. You never want to take that as a Drow Ranger draft. But the fact that Finem are getting this far up the lane already bodes really well for them. They are pretty much just completely mitigating these Wind Ranger shackle shots. I feel like from Sing, they've been really underwhelming.
They're just, yeah, the reinforcement has been a bit poor. The last couple of fights, the positioning hasn't been great. You know, Dazzle to be picked off early there means that they can't fight. Again, bottom lane, without your Dazzle present, you definitely can't fight Aegis or not. And, you know, it's fortunate that they don't lose Bone 7, so he still is able to complete up an SNY on top of his Dragon Lance. So I don't think the game or the window is over for Kaipi, but I think Finem are in a, you know, undeniably much better position at this point. And their high ground is not easy to crack in general. You know, they have a Doom and they have a Death Prophet to frontline. And whenever you have key frontliners with a Blink Initiator in the Darkseer, and then a hero like Clinks on top of that, you're definitely, you have potential to do a lot of damage in these fights. They will complete up the AC on Zai, which is going to really help with the push and the team fight, and potentially the split push if Zai gets to that point. But it definitely does feel like, you know, the later this goes, the more Kaipi are going to continue to fall off. I will say that, you know, credit to them, they haven't itemized too heavily towards ending this game early. Like, all of their itemization scaled decently well, but it does feel like they're just not the more potent lineup innately the later this game goes.
They're just a little bit, they're taking the fights in a much rougher fashion than Finem, so just like looking at these fights, if they continue the way they are, that's not going to be the way that Kaipi win this game. They really have to take, like, that fight they took over in mid lane, just repeat that once and they're good to go. But for right now, they have a complete wraparound. They will, however, get Sing Sing lifted up first thing. He will wind run out, so he'll be just fine. Crimson Guard has already popped Bambo, and Bone 7 from the back line gonna land a 3-man gust, but Ziggy, he needs some backup here. He has a double damage rune, but he's not able to stand and fight because of the Doom. Now the Doom is gonna be dropped onto the Drow Ranger, and she's just gonna have to run. The backup is coming in from the top side from Kaipi. They land a Sprout onto Spartan, but still they have to protect this Drow Ranger. They need that aura to stay alive, and it will for a little while longer, but it'll eventually drop, as now Thug with the Exorcism is just going to work. False Promise will get rid of the Shackle Shot and his Spirits. They're just grinding through everyone, plus the Siphon. It's gonna be a couple kills here for the Death Prophet, at least triple, in fact, for him. They're looking at Zai now. They will surge up Thug. I don't think they can actually kill him. They don't have True Sight in the area. Zai's gonna stop walking, so he's not gonna walk into the Sentry Ward above him. But still, it's a 4-for-3 exchange. And for Kaipi, I mean, it's better than the other fights, I guess. But still, this Death Prophet is just going off, and it seems like they have no answer.
Yeah, they haven't dealt with the Oracle. The False Promise is just way too effective. And it was a really nice play from maybe next time early on in the engagement as well. Immediately got the Fate's Edict off onto Sing Sing, so he wasn't able to right-click anyone. And, you know, when you build Aghanims, you want to be right-clicking. Your Focus Fire wants to be up, you know, 100% of the time during the fight, especially with the Chrysalis on top. And, you know, Sing Sing was just eliminated from that fight early on. So really well executed, all in all. I can't say there was poor positioning from Kaipi in that fight. I can't say the initiation was poor. In fact, Sing Sing was even able to get out from the Yule's initiation from Thug, so you understand them re-engaging there. That certainly makes sense, but just a really nice play, flank from the sidelines from the Oracle, and then, you know, the Shallow Grave was used defensively on the Dazzle. Like, once again, Bone 7 caught with the Doom, and the False Promise, you know, on the opposite end, instead of being used in that manner, was used on the Death Prophet, allowing her to get more work done. So the False Promise, or the Oracle altogether, just more effective than Dazzle in that last engagement. Finem did a good job to spread the Drow Ranger away from her teammates early on.
That wraparound is usually going to work out much better if you have a stun to land. If Sing Sing was able to sneak in a shackle shot there, even just on a one-man, then the wraparound would have allowed the Drow Ranger with that DD rune to just go to town. But because there was no control there, the control was limited to the gust. The Drow Ranger, even with the movement speed that she has, the S and Y, even with the frost arrows, was not able to actually keep herself at a safe distance. And that's really the problem here for Kaipi, is that they're unable to find an angle in these fights for Bone 7 to sit in a position and just shoot arrows. He always has to worry about like being chased down. He's always got someone on his ass, and that's not where a Drow Ranger wants to be. He doesn't have enough damage to just brute force down that Doom if it's the Doom who's on her ass. And now Bambo is actually in a little bit of trouble, pushing this bottom lane very aggressively. I'm not really sure what he's doing here. TP to the tier 3. Bambo's going to teleport out. Skylark's got a vacuum, though. That means Bambo has just got to try to get out of this the old-fashioned way. And I don't think that's going to happen with the Siphon, with the Swarm, and the Clinks damage. Night Stalker's going to die. It's not a huge pick-off for Finem, but it's more cash in the bank. And it's just delaying up Kaipi's draft by just a little bit every single time. And now it seems like Kaipi, they have to Rax in the next couple minutes or bust, I think.
Yeah, and it's hard to see them doing so, just in the sense that Finem, you know, they are pushing waves with tanky cores, and they're pushing waves with elusive cores. You know, Clinks has a BKB now, so he can jump out in the front. Thug is very tanky, Ghost Scepter, Octarine Core, and the Yule Scepter. Plate Mail even on top of that. You know, the Crimson Guard up onto Spartan, so it doesn't feel like Kaipi will ever find a solo pickoff that will translate into a push. They'll have to fight into this 5-man. And Finem have just itemized so well for it. They've got the initiation from Skylark. They've got the defensive potential from the Crimson Guard from Spartan. And, you know, they've been able to keep Thug up with this false promise. So it really looks good for Finem. They'll use this exorcism, take away their Aegis from a Drow Ranger lineup. And whenever you're able to do that, that's certainly a very significant win for your side. And it'll be cheese on top of that. So I just talked about the defensive capability of these cores. You know, now they have an Aegis on the Clinks and a cheese on the Death Prophet. Probably the best cheese carrier in the entire game, you know, aside from Storm Spirit. So this is, I think, you know, perhaps even the nail in the coffin for Kaipi's draft here. They are going to have to grossly misstep from Finem's side and lose a hero that matters. And, you know, you look at the buybacks, Doom, Clinks, and Oracle are the heroes without buyback. Oracle's going to have his up in a couple of gold. And Clinks has an Aegis, so it's really only the Doom they can find. Skylark may die here to the Soulburn top lane. Yeah, that'll finish him off, even if he gets the TP off there. So that's a decent pick, but, you know, as I was just touching upon, really the only hero you can bring down that doesn't have buyback is this Doom, or a second life with the Aegis is the Doom. So I don't think it's enough for Kaipi. It'll give them some time to, you know, complete up some items. They get the Bloodthorn, they get the Hurricane Pike up onto Bone 7 as well, and, you know, we've seen him be dropped a couple of times. He'll have the 3rd level of marksmanship here soon, so that's nice, but I really don't know if it's enough for Kaipi here. We'll see how they're able to execute in the coming fights.
Zai's doing some serious work still, and the Bloodthorn to drop probably not the Death Prop. She's got so many defensive items, but Clinks, or, you know, land that on the Oracle, get rid of the False Promise. That's some pretty big game. Nature's Prophet has solo kill power and then some. Able to kill off a Darkseer by himself is no easy feat. And now Kaipi have the map hack vision of an Aghanim Scepter Night Stalker as well. So these are some pretty heavy hitting items for them, utility wise, pickoff wise. As far as winning a team fight, those items are still not quite here yet. I still think they can do it though if Sing lands a 2-man shackle, but it seems like those aren't in the cards at this stage. So Kaipi, just wait for the next nighttime phase, and that's probably their best bet at looking for that Rax push, because they just got a whole bunch of items that I guess Finem kind of also have in that cheese and the Aegis, but it's not really going to get better for Kaipi, so they still have to go for this. There's really, again, no backup plan, but oh man, Sheepstick picked up on the Clinks. That is a back-breaking item on the Clinks. He's got a double damage rune as well, as if that's even needed, but land a Sheepstick on Zai, and he's in a lot of trouble. If you land a Sheepstick on Zai, the damage output of Kaipi just plummets, and then Kaipi in general in a lot of trouble. They'll find Madara with the gem and the Ag's Night Stalker vision, which I don't think is revealed yet. Madara is not quite in range to see it. He will not be initiated upon, so that could have been pretty bad for him, but still for Kaipi, this is really, really difficult.
He has BKB and Aegis, so they know it's a very difficult kill and that there's likely people behind him, or he wouldn't be that deep. He is, unbeknownst to them by his lonesome, but maybe they got a glimpse of the sheepstick at the very least. And that's, a big deal for Kaipi to be able to be wary of that. But, you talked about the Bloodthorn being a ramp up. I don't know. I'm not so convinced by it. There's a BKB on the Clinks. There's a Ghost Scepter on the Death Prophet. And, even if you get a silence off on a key target like an Oracle, there's a set of Greaves on the Seer as well to purge it off. So I don't know if that's quite enough. Like, Zai has certainly pulled his weight in this match, but it may just be his one misstep top lane that really sets back the timing window when he died there, as his lineup was pushing another lane. So Kaipi definitely on the back foot here. It's going to come down to having to be flawless execution from them in one of these team fights, or a misstep from Finem for them to take this game. And there's no doubt that if they do take a favorable engagement and one of the Drow Ranger or the Wind Ranger or the Prophet are up, that they will take a set of racks off of that. But, that seems like something that is certainly not very easy to be able to gain here. So only one hero has the buyback, though, on the Radiant side. That is the Darkseer at this point. Madara has the Aegis, but other than that, if Kaipi are able to take a good engagement, they should be able to take one, if not two lanes off of it.
You can see Kaipi kind of poking and prodding, yet not really committing to a fight, knowing that the Aegis is up. So they will just make a timing push, and it looks like it may be good enough to land where the Clinks is going to lose that double life. And losing the double life means that he might lose the gem as well. So taking that away opens up the door for your Nature's Prophet to play a little bit more sneakily around the map. And yeah, who knows? They may find their pick off eventually, just having that Aghanim Scepter Nightstalker vision just dominating the entire map. But the Death Prophet still has the cheese, and cheese with false promise is legit. But they will look at Madara. Over in mid, they're not really intent on going for that because his Aegis is still up. They would love to jump in right now, but they know that it's suicide.
Yeah, Aegis expiring actually in like 10 seconds as well. So that could have been, a potential opening for them, but it's probably pretty wise for them to back out. Bambo with this vision, though, is the one trump card that they did not have before, and they will find him all by his lonesome as an Oracle. It's a bit of a curious position for him to be in. And M&T going down, we mentioned it. None of these heroes have buyback. So that could be the opening that Kaipi are looking for here. And they certainly siege very well. Dragonlance up. They've got the units to come out. And the Shadow Blade coming through from Zai as well. Looking for another pick. Thug, he's way too tanky to open on here. And the Shadow Blade will expire. So they'll continue to just push this wave in. But, Bambo, it still doesn't feel like they know that there's an Ag's gem on this Nightstalker, as, the Oracle goes down fairly quickly in the mid lane. So that was kind of the one trump card there, offering them the potential to initiate, and we'll see if it does continue to do so. Zai, though, he's TP'd over to this bot lane, and he's beginning to shove it out.
They lost that timing window to get in with the Oracle down, so they're going to need someone else. Madara is charging forward. He is spotted by the Nightstalker. Bambo, his build is completely revealed now. He's going to get sheeped up, shackled, just a small one, to keep Madara at bay. So they absorb the sheepstick. They get nothing for it, Finem, but Kaipi also are burning nighttime right now. They do still have the darkness, so they will be able to extend it a little bit. But it seems like they are really, really hesitant to make a super aggressive play. They know they have to get a pick off beforehand, but those pickoffs just aren't coming. And now Thug even, who's going to go in pretty aggressively towards Come With Me. He's going to hide in the trees, try to TP out, and it looks like that will actually work out. So yeah, there you go. Dazzle's going to make his escape. But Kaipi, I don't know. It feels like they have to look even more aggressively for these pickoffs. Do they have smokes? They do have one. I feel like that's probably their best bet right now.
It's just hard to say who to go on. I mean, the Oracle was the most appealing situation, I would say, for them in the mid lane. The Doom would be second to that, but BKB 9 seconds on Madara. They're well aware that the BKB is available there. There's a cheese up on the Prophet, who's got a Yule Scepter and a Ghost Scepter and a Shiva's Guard, so she is difficult to bring down as well. Darkseer, he's got his Greaves to kind of purge any Bloodthorn or anything of the sort, and likely be able to surge out. He has a Ghost Scepter of his own as well, so there are, very few and very limited openings that look appealing enough to Kaipi. So they've been very wise to kind of be patient with their Nightstalker initiations thus far, and they do pick up a Satanic onto Zai, which may render him a lot more survivable in these fights. They got the AC up against the Death Prophet, but it still feels like, The win conditions for the team fights are few for Kaipi, and those are when they're able to burst either the Doom or the Oracle here early on.
Okay,
Jump forward from Spartan though, mid lane. He's going to be orchided up and brought down instantly. And now Bone7, he's able to get out. The Shackle is there onto Thug. Mrpdota though, he's hexed up Zai on the east side doing some work. Bambo does get the Ghost Scepter off, but he's a little bit deep behind enemy lines now, and he will fall. Shackle will hit onto 2 heroes though. Skylark, Gust comes through 3 as well. They can't get the False Promise off. Beautiful team fight synergy from Kaipi, Bone7 and Sing Sing. Shades of old C9 there doing work, and maybe next time he's going to be caught in the jungle by Zai. Now a TP forward there. Yules will be there onto Thug as the exorcism expires. Sing Sing 5 seconds until the blink cools down. Shackle is about at the same time. Lincoln Sphere will stop the Hex from coming through from Mrpdota, but he's getting sapped down. The Grave will be there, however, with the Bloodthorn, and they'll bring down the Clinks. Ultra kill for Zai. Nature's Prophet, and the wave, it's not with them here in the mid lane, but it will be shortly in the bottom lane. Zai will immediately TP into the base. Darkseer and Oracle do have the buyback, but it's 60 seconds with no Mrpdota in this bottom lane. Orchid Exorcism is off the board as well. This is at least 1 lane of Rax, barring a miracle. Spartan, he's going to be dropped here. 3-man silence is going to be absorbed essentially by Kaipi. Still no Exorcism available, no Doom now. 2 buybacks expended on the Darkseer and the Oracle, and I don't think Kaipi will be happy with just that. They'll continue to press forward, and why not? Need to force out more of these buybacks, but neither of them are available, so it'll be 1 lane of Rax. Very likely to go the way of Kaipi. They've sprouted in Thug now. He's in a bit of trouble. Gust comes through. It's going to connect onto Skylark. And with the Satanic, Zai standing strong in the front lines. They'll get the melee racks for the time being. Jump forward. Shackle will connect onto Skylark from Sing Sing. They don't really have the follow-up just yet, though. Disarm comes through. Big vacuum wall now from Skylark. The hold is there from the Fortune's End as well. The Wrath of Nature coming through. Everyone's still surviving from Kaipi's side. And they bring down the Oracle. No buyback. Grave will be there. Yule Scepter going to cancel the TP coming out, though, from Zai, and he will drop. 90 seconds on the sidelines. Does have buyback available, but Kaipi finally find their opening and will get the Rax. Spartan jumping forward right into a Bloodthorn, and, you know, not having the Oracle or the Darkseer Greaves behind him does get melted down. We talked about Doom and Oracle being the only heroes that are burstable, and Kaipi will find one, and then a lane of Rax.
I'm not really sure why you even make that push as Finem in the first place. Like, we were talking about Kaipi, if they find a pick off, then they could make it a Rax push, but Finem didn't get any huge items there. I guess it was daytime, so they figure, oh, Night Stalker's pretty weak, but, you know, most of the time, Night Stalker's gonna have darkness then, so they kind of just blindly bust up the high ground pretty much out of nowhere. And Kaipi were completely ready for it. In that fight, Bone7 was under absolutely no pressure. He was far, far, far in the back, and being able to take down that Doom first thing, it means that everyone else, especially this Nature's Prophet, don't really have that much to fear afterwards from the Finem squad, so it's kind of a questionable even start to that fight for Finem, and finally we see some Sing Sing Shackle shots to land as well. Finem, even though they are down a set of Raxes, they will grab another cheese. Still have that earlier one on the Doom, and they will have another double life here on Mrpdota, so things aren't completely over for them, but I feel like that fight was just completely avoidable by Finem, and if they just, you know, didn't go for that, then they would still be a Rax up right now, but that super aggressive play not really working out well for them, and now Kaipi, they're feeling pretty good about this. Spartan's going to charge in Scorched Earth and Edict, both on him. But Finem, okay, at least with this time, with Aegis and double cheese, this makes a little bit more sense, but is that ship already sailed? Sing Sing's behind them. Shackle shot on 2. If that latches, it might just be game over. He's going to throw it in towards Skylark, but it's going to fail. Now the Doom lands on the Sing Sing, even through the Lincoln Sphere, and everyone of Kaipi, they've got to run. They will assassinate the Oracle in the backlines, though. Zai doing, again, some serious work, this time for Skylark, but the cheese is going to be fed over to the Darkseer, and he will keep himself safe, at least for now. Bambo going to go Ghost Scepter right now, and he's going to look towards Modern with the help of Zai. BKBs versus BKBs, but it will be Zai to come out on top. Now he's going to start racing in towards Thug. Zai's doing way too much damage right now, with, of course, Ziggy and Sing Sing both firing out from the outskirts. This tank of a Nature's Prophet cannot be stopped. Everyone else from Finem is going to disperse to the wind. Zai, though, is hot on the trail of Skylark. The gem on Skylark is going to let him know that there is someone behind him. His Surge is going to keep him safe. He's got another Blink Dagger as well. But Finem, they lose the Aegis, they lose the Death Prophet, they lose the Doom and the Doom cooldown. Exorcism's still down for 50 seconds. Again, the door is open for Kaipi here. Zai is just unmovable in these fights.
Yeah, his Prophet has been immaculately positioned all game long, 19-4 and 6, and you know this Death Prophet buyback is here, but there's no Exorcism, and Kaipi are well aware of that. They'll still jump to this high ground more than likely. They are missing the Come With Me Dazzle though, and we've seen this story before. This could be, you know, a very perilous push to be making. They'll take the tier 3 out and likely look to back here, as Bone 7 will be able to bring it down, and the Void will keep them up, but they get the Gust off onto Madara. The Purge will be there from the Fortune's End. He doesn't want to expend the BKB, and you know him having to back and heal may be enough for Bone 7 to take a melee Rax here. They'll sit there as the Siege Engine, jump forward, Stomp will be there from Spartan. Crimson Guard comes off the Shackle, doesn't really do all that much. Neither does the Vacuum though. Thug is jumping forward. He will have his Exorcism come off of cooldown now. Shiva's gonna come out. Gust will be there. And Bambo, he's hexed up and is likely going to be the one casualty of this fight, but he gets graved up. Jump forward, Shackle is not going to connect. Sing Sing, he's had his Lincoln's Proc, but they get the Bloodthorn off onto Spartan. He will be able to surge out, but Madara, he's in a lot of trouble. Zai doing way too much right-click damage. The False Promise is there onto the Clinks, but he's likely to die here. Spartan jumps forward, trying to save his Clinks, and will get a Stomp off, but Madara ends up going down regardless. Now Bone 7 trying to run out of this one. Sing Sing was brought down, and they need to hide away this Exorcism. Thug, he's unable to get anything more, and Zai on the backlines does find the Oracle, but they do, and the Darks here, but they do clean him up with Madara here. Now a double buyback coming out from Kaipi. They're looking to re-engage here as Thug. Exorcism is going to expire soon. Bambo coming through. He'll go Scepter up, but he's in the Sprout. Silence will not be up onto all that many heroes. Shivas may keep him safe for now. Bone 7 is a little bit low, but it'll be the second lane of Rax going down in the favor of Kaipi here. Glyph gonna keep them at bay for the moment, but still 3 heroes on the sideline before these Racks are gonna be dropped. And Kaipi, they're looking to press for more. They still have a buyback available on the Drow Ranger if need be, and it's gonna be Mega Creeps going their way before the Exorcism is up again. They'll silence up Thug, they'll shackle him inside the Sprout. Big right clicks coming through with the Bloodthorn. Yule Scepter will be there in time. They get the preemptive Grave off on the Bone 7. They'll secure Mega Creeps, and Zai still standing in the front lines. Does not have the Satanic, unable to get it off though. Will end up dropping 120 seconds on the sidelines for the Prophet. Double kill going the way of Spartan. Sing Sing looks like he's gonna be able to extricate himself from this. Bambo will make it out as well. Come With Me TPing out in the base is gonna be dropped by the Oracle. But 2 buybacks available for Kaipi. 1 tier 2 still up for them. Does feel like the game is essentially over here. They find their opening once again with a nice flank in the mid lane and take a decent team fight thereafter in the mid with a numbers advantage. Kaipi finally 48 minutes in, you know, very unlikely that you see the Drow Ranger lineup able to take Megas, but they do so here.
I don't know how this Nature's Prophet is doing this much damage. Like, Bloodthorn is a pretty ridiculous damage item. The Drow Ranger damage at this point, or it should be about 50 to 60 damage, so it all does add up, but man, Zai is just trucking through everyone. Like, Spartans got Vlads and Crimson Guard, didn't stand a chance there. And now that Kaipi have Megas, they, I mean, not only have that moving forward, but they also limited their losses on the retreat. They were able to get away with Sing Sing and the Night Stalk, which means that Finem can't really just brute force in for a game-winning push right now, although it does seem like that's their only chance at winning this. Thug's gonna pop an Exorcism, however, the only hero they don't have to worry about is Zai. Can they rush down the Ancient? They have Sing Sing in their own base. Pushing in with the Focus Fire has got to be answered by someone. Spartan's going to jump in towards this Dazzle. They lock him down for a little bit, but he is able to slip away. Now Sing Sing's going to teleport back. Fails a shackle because there's nothing to latch him to, but Thug, his Exorcism is not actually damaging any buildings right now, so it's essentially being wasted. And now Tag with the Frost Arrows is going to get a little bit of space with the False Promise. Will stay alive for a little while longer, but Ziggy once again is not being pressured at all. Is able to fire in with all of his damage, plus 84 actually from the Drow Rangers. Going to kill off the Oracle and the Darkseer. Now with Bambo charging in, they'll get onto Spartan. He'll stomp to get himself a couple of seconds of space, but it's definitely not enough. The arrow is actually not frosted. It doesn't matter. They'll still get onto Spartan, and they should be able to bring down the Doom, and they will. They now latch up Thug to a tree. Madara's here. He's trying to take down Sing, but he doesn't have an MKB, so he's going to miss up against the wind run, and now he's going to be chased down as well. Good game. Well played. Rampage for Bone 7 as he ends it with a 5er. Man, this was some game. Kaipi are barely able to move onwards. They drop Finem out of the tournament. One of the favorites, in fact, to take it, but after this display, I don't know who the favorite is anymore. Kaipi are looking real good, especially with this new addition of Zai, who did some serious heavy lifting in this game.
Zai P, man, undefeated. 3 series, 3 victories, and Finem will hand them their first game loss, but able to really adjust very well with the draft in game 2. They go for a bit of a risky draft in game 3, and a lot of it was just carried by Zai and some pretty good positioning by Come With Me as well on the Dazzle. So I felt like Finem itemized fairly well, at least in the early game, to deal with this Drow Ranger lineup, and we did see them kind of take the third Roche and at that point control in the game. But just a couple of catches on the Doom and the Oracle was the opening that Kaipi needed to finish this one off. And in that last fight, they just didn't have Madara because Sing Sing forced him back into base, so they had nowhere near enough firepower to bring down the rest of the heroes with Zai on the sidelines. And as soon as Zai respawns, just goes in and takes out that Ancient. So Kaipi really well played from them in this one. Well drafted as well in the second game there from Bamboo. And overall, they will find the victory. So yeah, as you mentioned earlier, going to go on to face Power Rangers in the lower bracket finals. And winner will face Fantastic Five in the Grands.
And judging off of this performance, I would say Kaipi definitely able to take down Power Rangers. Fantastic Five, I'm not really sure. It's definitely going to be a little bit closer, but we could see Zai just offering that element of stability to Kaipi, which, I mean, the Kaipi name is always dropping in and out of Dota because the members are being picked up or do other things or whatever, but just having this rock, it seems, in Zai could do some pretty serious work for Kaipi. So I'm excited to see them moving forward, but we are done for today, guys. Been a pleasure casting these games for you despite all of our issues on the back end. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Mrpdota. If you enjoyed the casting, be sure to follow the channel. Not really sure when the final 2 sets are going to be played because Manila's starting in like 8 hours, something like that. So we're at least going to wait for that, which is more delays, I know, right? But either way, keep an eye on the channel. Also follow us on Twitter at Mikelorus for myself, at Mrpdota for my co-caster. We'll see you guys next time. GG.
Don't forget to give E some of your energy tonight, guys.
Wow.
Please.
Really? So biased caster.
It's okay, guys. I never get the cast secret anyways, but GG.